Now, do you talk to yourself? That seems pretty self-explanatory. We all have some inner voice going on when we think our thoughts, make decisions. There's something happening inside your head. Now, how that illustrated may differ from person to person, but self-talk is a thing. But it's cliche to just be like, oh, have a better voice in your head. Don't say negative things or productive things, unproductive things. That's all great. Let's go a little bit further than just the simple fact of you don't want to beat yourself up. Now, let's talk about different types of self-talk. Like I mentioned, people say there's negative self-talk, things that put yourself down. I can't do this. I'll never amount to much, things of that nature. But there's positive self-talk where it's more so like affirmations. I can do anything I put my mind to. Cool. It's all great. Now, personally, in my philosophy, I like to look at productive versus unproductive because that could be subjective to how it's perceived to the individual. Because if I'm more so a person who can reinforce something that I heard or said and make it a positive outcome that goes towards the goal, that's productive. So that's why I like to use those terms. But when are these beneficial? Now, you can argue that unproductive self-talk really doesn't have much place in any endeavor, any goal, anything you're trying to achieve. So I'll put that on the lower end of the spectrum. Now, when you say productive self-talk, you would assume if low is on this side, then productive would be on that side. And I would argue, no, I'll say it's more in the middle, more in that neutral ground, because productive self-talk will lead to beneficial outcomes because it gives you the mindset, the perception that you can do, and you need that. But when you're in the moment, I think that still could be detrimental to a degree, because if you look at it from a cognitive standpoint, there's some thinking load that's going on in that moment where you have to deviate from what you're trying to do. So that's why I put it more in that middle ranking on that scale. Now, on the further side, the highest side, I would call this controlled self-talk, meaning there's a voice still going on. You still have things that you're saying, but it's more relevant to what the task or the goal at hand is. Because if I'm thinking, yes, you got this, come on, keep going, while I'm trying to do it, that may mess me up and take the actual thinking load away from what I need to execute. So that's why I call it controlled self-talk. And this is something I implement in all my drills, where it's cognitive training, as well as when I'm working with consulting with organizations, because the person who can control their thoughts is going to have the best outcomes. It's not going to guarantee a win. Doesn't mean you won't lose. I can never guarantee that, but I can argue that the person who has the best control of what they're saying. And if you can mitigate that voice as low as possible in the moment, you're probably gonna have a better chance to do what you need to do because you have less distractions. Because the narrative is, as long as you have a positive mindset or you're just thinking the right things, you're good to go. But if you're still overwhelming what you're doing, that's going to make you deviate from what's at hand. And we do not want that. They look at the best performers in sport, academics, TV, media, entertainers, all that different types of stuff, military, the list goes on. They're the type of thinkers who can stay even. Some people even call it stoicism, but I won't go to the fact that you're unaffected, but to the point where you're less affected and you stay in the zone where you need to be. So think about these things when you think about self-talk. It's more than just how you feel in that moment, feeling good, feeling great, affirming. You can use that stuff, but I'm big on making the intangible tangible. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and have a great rest of your week.